as I said, I'm going to guide you through the session. I think we lost Lee. I don't know what happened. So probably he will be back soon. Okay. What I would like to do is to work with the project canvas right now with you, with your project work. So with the project work, which is your assessment, and therefore I will explain this. The agenda, the course of the work step by step, and we will do some breaks and reflect what we did before. So what I want to do is to share my screen. Just a second. Okay, you should see my screen again with the presentation. So the first step, as you remember, is the start, the introduction we already did. And now we're gonna have about 20 minutes for the start. And that means someone of you will introduce the project or the team. And then one person will ask or guide through the canvas by a question set. And the team gives answers, and one person writes down what he or she understood. That means, again, so I did some visuals so you will understand it better. One of the group will be the interviewer, and he or she will use this this question set. I already uploaded it in Dropbox, and you should have been able to download these. And as you can see, there are some crosses because for our project at the moment, these questions are not relevant. So for me, it's very important that you, as an interviewer, one person will do the interview, will guide within about 20 minutes through all of these questions. And you don't really have to prepare a lot because the questions are written down, and I expect that you do not add any information. It's just that you ask the people who are answering what, for example, what the cause of the project is. And after the answer has been given, you will go to the next question, and then so far to the next, so on, until you're finished. Just keep in mind that it should take about 20 minutes, but of course I will give you a hint after about 10 minutes and 3 minutes before it will end. So this is one person doing the interview. Then there will be one person who's the writer. So one of you should use this template, this PowerPoint template. Of course, the best way to work with the canvas is when you meet in a room and you can work on a wall with Post-it papers and so on. But for now, it should work like this. As you can see, you have all the fields, and you just enter your text. For example, example text. So just write down what you hear. And what you hear is what the group is telling you. So you are 5 at the moment, and one person will be the interviewer, one person will write down what he or she hears, which will be the answers given by the team. And please do not discuss. So one person will answer a question and another person can add something. And it can be different. There can be differences. Then it's fine. Don't discuss it. The writer will write down everything. So, and yeah, that's the first step. And now we have to choose who will be the interviewer and who will be the writer. In the next step, the writer will explain what he or she has heard and written down. So, but for this, there will be one interviewer, one writer, and the others will be the team. So, do you already know which role you want to take, or shall I choose? I don't know. Sometimes the chat is not working for me here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, then I have to choose someone who will be the writer and someone who will ask the questions. I don't know, Chen, would you be the writer? That means using this PowerPoint template. You should have been able to download it in the Dropbox and just write down what you have heard. Just give me a short feedback. Chen, Sue.
Is I download from the Dropbox and I should write it down.
Genau. Yeah, that's right. So, for example, the one who's interviewing will ask you a question. This one, for example, we'll ask the group, what is the cause of the project? And then the group will answer. The cause is that it's our task for the assessment of our classes, and then you will write down this answer.
Oh, okay. When should I do this?
Sorry?
When should I do this right
now. So we will do this in a live session. So now we are deciding who will be in which role, and you would be the writer. That means we will decide now who will do the interview with you.
Okay.
We will try this. No worries. We will try this with the first question. Let's do it like this, step by step. And yeah, then we will guide through all of the relevant questions. So do you already have the template, this one? Okay, so the other role, the interviewer. Yeah, Lee, might you be able to ask the questions? That means to guide through these.
Well,
questions?
that's fine to me. That's fine to me.
Okay, great. Were you able to download the cards in Dropbox? So I posted the link in Slack in our project channel. I show you.
Yes, I already saw it.
Okay, so it's here in the project work channel. The first link is the cards, and the second one is the PDF template for Chen. Thank you, Ray. For all the others, that means for Liang, for Zoe, and for Ray, Lee is doing the questions. He's doing the interview with you. That means you have to answer. For me, it's totally fine if you sometimes have to switch to Chinese language. So of course, in the end, you have to explain. Chen has to explain it to me and to all of you in English. But it helps you with some difficult questions. Of course, you can also use your mother tongue. Therefore, okay. So I think, Chen, are you ready with the presentation? Ray posted the link as well in the chat. So you should now have this PowerPoint prepared to work with it. And Lee will guide through these categories here, starting with the purpose, going to the customer and the result, and he will ask some questions. And it would be pretty helpful, Lee, if you could share your screen and showing the question you are asking at the moment.
Okay, I need to switch to the computer.
Yeah.
Sorry, wait, there's a problem with my Dropbox. I can't open it.
Okay, and Ray posted a link here in the Zoom group chat. Maybe you can download this document.
舒晨，我发到那个聊天那里啦，你看一下能不能下载，就那2个文件啊，听到吗？
哦，等一下，看一下。哦，可以了，我可以下载了。
Is this working now? If not, I can send you the template as well by email.
Yes, she download. She has download.
Okay, perfect. So you now should be able to work with this document you're seeing right now. Is that right? Okay. Okay, I will stop my screen sharing now. Lee, you're back again. And if Chen is ready, then you could start with your questions. And yeah, Liang, Ray, and Zoe, you will be the interviewed team members, and you have to answer the questions given by Lee. So Chen can then write down what she understands.
Sorry.
No worries. I know this is a bit challenging as well with working with this video conferencing, and because it's the first time you're working with a method, but the more often you use it, the easier it will be. And now it's all this preparation stuff with the documents and so on. This is, of course, is much easier when you just meet in person. But I did it several times as well online, and it also worked. So don't be afraid. It's just to give you a try to learn a new method, and also to align your project ideas right from the beginning, so your project work will be successful.
So let's start.
Yeah.
With the first question. What is the purpose? What is the case of the project?
可以讲中文是吧？就我看那个案例，然后他好像就是一个IT 公司，然后他的主要做的业务就是我当时听老师解释是不需要人工，然后就是做一些的信息传送的东西。然后他的想要做就是想要开拓一个新的市场，但是他目前公司有一些问题，就是随着公司的规模扩大之后，出现了很多一些效率上的问题，包括在人力资源方面就有一些沟通上面的问题啊。他们组织内部结构也比较混乱，然后每一个部门分布的比较分散。从哪里开始翻译？那这是他基本情况啊。然后，所以他的motivation 就是动机吗？他的动机应该就是我也不知道原因，他们想要把规模做大的话，那肯定就是会进入一个新的市场，因为毕竟在一个单一的市场里面，风险其实还是挺大的。万一这个随着因为科技的发展还是挺快的，慢慢的。
So let's be simple. The motivation is they want a new market, right?
Motivation 没。对
呀。And more profit.
The motivation is the profits. Make the big profits.
Motivation, new market, and more profit. That's all.
Okay, so one question, what you are explaining now is the project is not the task for the project work, but the consulting task. Is that right?
Yeah, I try to expand the
situation she explained the situation of this company and told us what this company wants to do.
Yeah, what they want to do and where they want to go.
Yeah, so for me, it's also important that you keep in mind that your project is the project work at all. That means the project report, the presentation, and also the consulting task in this case study we created, right? So it's a bit bigger as well. And Lee, if you have to add something, just I think we can do it later, because the idea is that you just do the interview. So I know that you want to add something more, but at the moment it's important that only the three of you, Zoe, Liang, and Ray, are talking. If someone wants to add something, then just do it. But
I just want to let you know what we're doing now.
Okay, thank you. That's nice, because I don't understand a word. That's true.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So just for Chen, there was quite a lot of information. You got everything? You were able to write down everything?
Actually, no, but I write down something.
Or the most important things, yeah? You will have something in mind as well, and you can add it when you will explain what you understood later. Okay, just let us know if it's too much or too fast, then we can slow. Okay, thank you.
And next, why is the project important and meaningful, and for whom?
So it's the same here. Try to differentiate the project work as your task from the university and the consulting project, which is part of this bigger project work. It's both important to explain for whom it's meaningful.
No Cantonese.
觉得就是肯定就是利益相关者啊。对啊，利益相关者那几个啊，股东啊，然后对啊，顾客，然后
To develop this company.
not just the company, the stakeholders and
Stakeholders, customers, and what else?
所有权、经营权。
Okay. And why it's meaningful?
就是 stakeholders 啊 ，stakeholders and the shareholders and the customers。我都唔記得咗利益相關者嗰堆人咯。and the government stakeholder。
Okay, they start to speak another kind of foreign language.
The Cantonese。
Well, you know, China is too big, and so the local language is always difficult for another province. We totally don't understand what they say. Just like when you speak German, another guy speak, I don't know, French.
Yeah, for example, really intense dialect like in Bavaria on the countryside or something. I don't understand them as well.
Well, I want to ask an interesting question. Is that all your German learn something or can understand some part of the French?
Of what?
Please, guys, please speak Mandarin. I totally cannot understand any Cantonese.
Yeah, I mean, is that German can understand some words of French?
You mean French? Maybe
French, yes, French.
Yeah, maybe we can move that questions. We can answer that question later and just follow up with the process.
Okay.
You can ask it later. Don't forget it. I write it down.
The project is important because the develop of the firm or company is 就是公司发展肯定就会进入一个新的市场，因为它一个产业或者一个市场，它的发展是有它的生命线的。它发展到一定程度的话，它的生命线就会走到尽头了。所以产品跟市场都会有一个迭代的过程，就是符合S 曲线的。它可能这一个市场已经走到 S 曲线的一个
已经饱和了。
也不一定是饱和，那现在房地产也饱和啊，但那是不是建筑师就不能干呢？也不是啊，你看疫情期间，我以前的同学全都去做医院建筑了，所以其实这个市场，它其实不一定是饱和，就好像苹果现在它的未来不一定是做手机，它有可能是往平板或者电脑或者随身携带的产品去发展，但是手机这个市场饱和了吗？并没有，所以其实
手机市场已经饱和了，已经开始萎缩了。
那是因为有更多的携带就随身携带的产品出现，所以手机是不能满足我们消费者的需求，所以它开始这一个市场是发生了一个迭代的过程。但是其实手机也是永远都是刚需来的，走到现在这个时代的话，就好像我2年就会换一部手机，那对于我来说，手机会饱和吗？并不会吧。对啊，就是一个产品迭代跟一个市场的发展，还有公司的发展来想的话，所以它就是进入一个新的市场，对他来讲是很重要，还有很 meaningful 的。OK，the next。
Okay, the next. How will the project change the future and for whom?
我就到你講啦，梁家偉。
I think it's we should focus on change the future, right? How how can it change the future?
應該算係 IP 行業啊。沒錯。
嗯哼。
但是蘋果會聽顧客的需求嗎？
不是，因為你如果發展得慢了，你就是在倒退，對吧？蘋果的原則是，它按照它的邏輯去設計它認為對的事情，然後它的這套邏輯能被大部分消費者接受，它就能成功。
There are only 10 minutes left. I think you have to accelerate a bit and yeah.
Change the future, they will change the world, change the customer, change the lifestyle and the workers, the IT workers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, customer. Who is the actual customer of the project?
And the blockchain will change through their through the project.
Well, that's exactly what you said just now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's important with this question is that you have to understand that sometimes there's not just one customer, there are different roles, like the owner, recipient, sponsor, and so on. But it can be one person, but it can be, it's also possible that it's different persons. And of course, in our project, the project work, for example, who get the project results, that's me as your teacher, because I receive the project report and the presentation, but there's also this inner project with your consulting task, of course, and there the company receives your project results, the business RPA. So you have to differentiate there, of course. Mm-hmm.
The customers, I think the IT workers and the company, I think the company, most of the company.
And the result, what exactly is to be delivered to the customer at the end of the project. So for us, we are IT company or something like that. So we offer new product and service, right?
But you are the consulting company. You are not the IT company. Your customer is the IT company, right?
Okay. Seems you got a little misunderstand.
A new product and a new service, and both of them will be the result. And because the technology is developing and the needs of the customers is developing and developing fastly. So the result, I think, is both of all.
你刚刚老师说的那个听懂吗？他说这公司不是个 IT 公司。
他说
对呀，咨询公司，所以
他说
的是
你不是一个 IT 公司，你是一个咨询公司。
对。
他说你的客户才是。
Before you go over to quality, just an idea from my side. So you as a consulting company, you receive the order by the client, by the RPA, by the IT company, that they maybe want to enter a new market, and what they want from you is a concept, how to analyze which market might be interesting, and maybe how to decide which market they should enter, and what should be then the next steps to enter a new market. So isn't it more something like new knowledge, or maybe additionally something like a service?
Yeah,
so I
don't think it's a kind of service.
Yeah. So maybe a mixture between service and knowledge, yeah, but because they want a concept.
In my opinion, they do the something like the network company in China, because I major network engineering in my bachelor also, and so in my opinion, a new product and a new service is both of us also important, and because the network always lapse and or not work, and so just a new product, but your service is poor, or is not suits to your new products, is not work for the project, I think. So
yeah, but the product might be something the company, your customer will create then a new product, but your work won't be to produce this product. So it's a concept, like a recommendation, what they should do and to which market.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is very important to differentiate. Yeah.
We don't make a product ourselves. We just give them advice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the next.
Quality. What makes the customer really happy with regard to the result of the project, or the waypoint along the way within the project? How do you think about that?
Ôi,大佬到你答啦，我唔識啊。
Welcome again.
喂，死去邊啊？
陈子瑶吃完了吗？来回答一下问题。喂。
不是啊，他们去哪了？
跑了吗？
哎，原來係你嘅屏幕共享。
我現在看不到這裡有多少人。
哦，原來是你的屏幕共享啊。
對啊，是我在屏幕共享呀。那要不蘇晨來回答一下，記錄員也是可以回答的。
幫你答啦嘛。能夠去的。大佬人哋呢度已經講咗結果，越對越加，你唔見到佢會越對越加，仲會對越燒啦咩？你話個結果會令佢哋開心，呢度咪已經講咗結果咯，第3行啦。咁下邊兩題啊。
Also here, two types of customers. One type will be me, because I'm the main customer to your project work, but the consulting project inside, there, for example, some clients like to receive a weekly update, or they want a meeting where you present the results on halfway, something like this. This is, of course, Just what you could imagine what a customer would like to receive.
So I believe in such a kind of company, the customer will more happily with the result of the project, and of course the process is also important. But we don't produce any product ourselves. We give them advice.
Yeah.
So the result of the project is how good or how bad your advice works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I choose the first one.
Okay, so there are no very important waypoints in the project for the client.
Yes.
And are there waypoints in your project work, like the project report, presentation, and so on?
Maybe.
So you should talk about that as well. Maybe not today, but we have to keep that in mind, of course.
Okay.
Planning. Okay. Yeah, just go on.
Next time. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, that's for today. It's not important because you already started with your project.
Oh, for the time when is the project already closed, and what will be required?
When?
Well, how to define it? How to define the finish? One is the不是啊，就是这个项目什么时候结束？就是等你提供你完整的这个服务之后，然后
就是他开始盈利的时候才会结束了吧？不盈利还亏钱，你干完事也没用啊，谁干啊？
不是这个问题，就是人家来向你买这个服务，然后你的服务是要提供到他那边结束为止。就比如说你给他一个建议去投产这个东西，结果那个东西出了问题，那其实是，但他如果按照你的执行出了问题，那是不是他又回来要来找你了？
那肯定也会这样子的呀。
As I don't understand what you are saying, just to keep in mind that Chen tries to write down the most important aspect.
Is that the project will be closed in the time when make profits, or and they think the time when the customer is no need of the project. No need anymore.
Well, I mean, after you give them the advice, all the project is closed. But in my mind, you should follow what happens next to your customer. You give them advice.
So in my opinion, the time when the company or the project get the profits, and then the project closed.
So what I heard is that you have different opinions, and then Chen just write down this, and you have to further discuss this later, because we will just try to bring up every ideas you have, and as you see, you have different opinions, which is no surprise. As I said before, every project starts with different ways of thinking what the project results and what the project about. And so, no worries, you don't have to clarify everything right now.
Mm-hmm. And what will be required?
Yeah. So for the project work, of course, you already know what's required. It's written down in the project work guidelines. And for our client, for the business RPO, what will be required?
And I believe the only thing we need is more information about the markets.
Finance statement.
Financial report.
Finance statement.
Financial report.
This is what you need to do the project, to process, to do your project work. But for the end of the project, is there something required, like the final concept, for example, yeah, or any approval? I think that's it at the moment. So for this company, for this case study, you only have to deliver one document.
Yes.
Yeah.
And draw the conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
Next
time
level.
up, but I will give you to the chat. So no worries. We will just take 5 minutes or something more, but let's go through it a bit faster.
Involves which know forces, events, conditions, people, affect the project.
Yeah, so environs and risks and chances are a bit similar, just to understand this. But what's the difference is risks and chances are uncertain, so you don't know if they occur. And the one before is known, so you know you have the capacities, or you have, for example, the Chinese students of you have a full schedule, so time will be something that might be in the way, stand in the way, but it's no risk or chance. Yeah. The risk would be if someone would be sick for 2 weeks and would not be able to work, for example, because you don't know if it occurs.
Yes.
Yeah, just to explain these differences.
And waypoints, which stages of projects would be a good reason to celebrate. Interim results.
From the project work view, it would, for example, be your project report.
Yes.
Of course, because then there will be the presentation afterwards. And before the project report, you will see we have to go through your report structure, and this would also be a waypoint to present the report structure to the teacher. This is for your project work. And what would be a way, or is there any waypoint in your consulting project for the company? Anything?
I think the visible and measurable success, and through the finance statement or the I don't know. I just know the financial statement can reflect many problem or status of the companies.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the data for the visible and measuring success, we can see maybe the company is maybe it's the process to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. So when you gain more information. Mm-hmm.
Of course, the data can be fake.
Let's go further.
Okay.
Resources. What do we need actually? Work tools, materials, methods, or the models. What do we need?
Mấy都熱㗎啦，你要發展。
都關啲晒。
呢個單選題嚟嘅。阿陳子咧，陳子去咗邊啊？
你在幹嘛？
誒，陳子開麥啊，快回答問題啊！
Yes, that's this question is for you. Hey, come on.
Show time. Hello, anyone here?
Yeah.
唔係啊，佢話呢個資源啊，你需要啲咩資源啊？我覺得發展最需要錢啊，但係點解冇錢嘅？material
Data. Methods and models data. And also budget. And we need more experts in big data, right?
In big data, okay. But therefore, you also need big data, right?
As I said, budget.
Okay. So that's it.
The next.
Yeah, that was the last. We will not talk about the budget because the project at the moment not important. Of course, in real life, with a consulting project like this, budget would be very important. But for now, we don't know anything about this company. And for your project work, a budget is also not important. So this is why I skipped these questions. Okay, wow, that was quite intense. Thank you, Lee, for the interviewing part, and thank you to the others to answer all these questions. I would like to hand over to Chen and first ask her, so your next job would be to guide us through the project canvas you fill with the answers. I will share for a moment my screen, just a minute, second.
A small tip. Actually, we should have a German name or English name because we got two Chen here. One is Su Chen and the second one is Chen Ziao, which is quite similar.
Yeah, so I think you weren't there when we talked about the nicknames, and Chen is Chen Su and Zoe is the other Chen, so we already arranged this. Maybe you weren't in that class at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I think you can see my screen. We are now done with the introduction, and now we went through all these questions. We're in the middle. That means now it would be your job, Chen Su, to tell us using your screen sharing to tell us what you wrote down. There will be no room for questions. You just explain what you heard and what you understood. With this, I understood that. And if something is not clear for you, please mention it like this. This is not yet clear. And if you want to add something, you can do as well. But also introduce a sentence with, I want to add. If to the team or also to the interviewer something comes up, please write it down in your own notes. Yeah. And so also there is no room for discussion. This would be the next step, that Chen would guide us through the canvas. And if there are some ideas, something you want to explain deeper, on the other groups, then please just write it down. We will later on talk about that. Clear so far? And yeah, Chen, I would hand over to you.
But I'm afraid now I can use the screen share because I'm now using the iPad for the class and I don't have a laptop now.
Okay, if you like, you can send me your PowerPoint and I will share it, or someone else. This is also possible, and you will just guide through it by your voice.
Can I just by the speaking here, because
Okay.
I also don't.
Yeah. That's also okay. Then I will share the screen that everybody knows where we are. Is that okay?
Okay.
Just a second. So, okay, so you would also start with a purpose and then go to the customer and result in quality and environments, waypoints, risk, and then resources. Oh, I forgot the time, sorry. Yeah. Just start.
Okay. The cost of this project is there's within the explore of the company, there are some problem showing up. The first is the human resource divide is little it's become different than before, and also the department has a little change. The motivation, the most important motivation for that is finding a new market and getting more perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And for the project, the most important and meaningful is for the first the stakeholder, and second the customers of the companies.
And what else did you understand?
While they are talking, they are most focused just on the customer and the stakeholder. Maybe also some worker in that companies.
The employees, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the project may focus on change the company's future, the people's lifestyle, and the whole IT workers. And they should focus also on developing the technology because that's an IT company. And second, they should meet the customers' needs. They should know what people really need from that company.
Mm-hmm. If there's something you would like to add in Chinese because you're not quite sure with your English, that's also fine for me. Yeah, just for me, it's of course helpful if you go through it in English, but of course, if there's somewhere words or something not that clear, you can use your language as well. But please go ahead.
Wait. And then we come into the topic that when should we end the project? There's two different opinions while they're just talking. The first is after we giving the advice to the company, and that's the end of our project. And Lee have different opinion. He thinks that we should really see how our advice really going and working on, see the result of our advice to the company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is something you have to clarify in the next step. Mm-hmm.
Wait, and what we need for the data, for the company's data, because first, like every year's financial report we need, and second, we also need the former years of that companies, because we use that data for analyze, or maybe use some business model to analyze how the projects will next going on.
Mm-hmm. So you identified some missing information. Mm-hmm. What else did you understand?
That is what I heard and record from their discussion just right, and that's the whole. That's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And let's also move to the other level of your project. This was the view from the perspective of your consulting assignment, yeah, as Transformation Now. But you as a team of students with the project work as your task, what did you understand from this perspective, from the project work perspective? Or maybe we have to separate these both topics and take a deeper look onto the project work requirements when we do the planning, I think. So we're going to stay with that at the moment. So thank you, Chen, for this summary, what you understood. And now I would like to hand over to the team who have been interviewed. Did you want, or do you want to add some more information at the moment? Okay, so probably this is almost clear. So if you want, you now have the option to add information, but if you're fine with it, I would like to go to the last part, the end of the session, of the method, and to open the discussion. So that means you're gonna take a look. So now we don't have the screen to see, but you have to remember what you heard. To talk about your different assumptions, your different understandings, and maybe you can clarify some criteria and also find out some, or identify some topics you want to discuss outside of this session today. So it's now open for you to discuss your project. As before, you can also do it in Chinese languages.
So,
I think
你们还有什么想说的？还有什么补充吗？
暂时没有什么想说的，主要就是 以前我们做的东西都是我们是利益相关者的角度去看的，我们从来没有说在咨询公司的角度去看这个问题，所以有点难转换这个角色。我们永远都是想我们的公司应该怎么样，我们的公司应该走一个怎样的路线，怎么为自己去谋取利益。但是如果咨询公司的话，他们是不是像股东啊，或者像他们的所有权者那么去想的呢？其实我不太懂这个问题，所以我暂时没什么想法。
就咨询公司是这样，咨询公司就是，你一个公司找别人来替你承担风险，懂吗？
我知道咨询公司是什么，但是我从来没有站在咨询公司的角度去想这些企业的问题。
咨询公司就要回避这些风险，
我从来只会站在
尽量把这个风险压到最小。
就是相当于职业经理人呗，但是你这样子很难啊！就我们今天其实已经我们在中国上课嘛，就公司管理人里面就已经有讲到了，你作为一个职业经理人，你需要职业道德吗？有时候真的不需要的，因为我们中国很多职业经理人就没有道德啊，是吧？那我们一定要为他谋取福利吗？就好像他们都说一个国企的话，你在里面做一个公务员，你就是他们的职业经理人。但是你退休之后，你从这个企业里得不到任何的利益，你只有退休金。那其实很多的国企里面的职业经理人，他们就直接把公司给做死之后，然后自己把公司买下来继续做下去。那其实如果我作为职业经理人，我是不是应该一定要站在那个角度去想这问题呢？那你现在说我是一个咨询公司，我一定要站在这个角度去想这问题，我一定要为他谋取福利吗？对吧？
你这个问题有点乱。
对，这想的真的太多了。我们从来都是说，哦，你作为这个CEO 或者是他的所有者，你会怎么去想这问题啊？但是从来没有说你作为一个 consultant， 你怎么去想这问题，太难了。没什么关系。对呀、就誒咁太難啦！你咁樣 consulting，你如果諮詢你有咩意見俾佢，而且佢個公司，而且他這個公司的信息太少了，對吧？他只是講到他的大概一個規模。對，一個數據，而且好像对啊，就有一些真实的财务数据，那些全都要给咨询公司看才行的，不然你给一个账面上面的东西，你提交上去交税，那东西都没有什么屁用的。你披露出来的东西其实很多都是假的呀，而且他现在也根本没有披露啊，对吧？他给我们的资料也就那几行字。
这个不在讨论范围内，好吧？
Maybe just interruption. What are your main discussion points at the moment?
I think what the consult what to cover is to explain. As a consultant, I don't know what should I do, and because in my previous lectures, we just be a role of CEO of all the stakeholders of the company, and it's the first time I add as a consultants. So I don't know what the consultants should do.
Okay, so that's something you for all of you has to be clarified. Yeah, what your task, what would be the expectation of the concept? Is that right? In your consultant role, in your imaginary consultant role.
Yeah, and the data of the companies is too less to analyze.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course. So it's as you realized this project. So maybe we will just stop here with the project canvas at the moment, because what we definitely found out that the task seems to be very big and kind of overwhelming for all of you. And you are missing a lot of information, of course, because we are in an imaginary project, and not in the real world. Yeah, so it's an imaginary case, and you don't have every information, of course. What I would like to do is to share again the document with the project.
About the project. So the rest of the data which is images or the or list the many cases of the project.
So let's get back to your project. Yeah, so you have to develop a concept for entering new markets with the information you do have. So this is also a bit more theoretically. That means if you would like to enter a new market, which steps should be taken to analyze the market? That doesn't mean that you have to analyze the market, because you don't have, for example, all the data from the respective company. So it's more about what should you do, what would be the steps to analyze a market, which information would you take into account to analyze the market. Of course, which specific market should be considered more closely, and why would mean, if you imagine that this company you want to do the consulting job for, the business RPA company is working in an IT market, they are developing a software. Of course, specific regions are more interesting than others. And this should be taken into account. You have to write a concept with the information you are able to get. And don't think about information you cannot get, like a financial report or something like this, because this is more on a theoretical basis. And because we are not in the real world, but we try to think and develop a guideline. What would you do if you would consult a real company? Because the steps would be the same to analyze the market and to take a look, for example, on financial reports, on market growth, and so on. But you don't have to deliver the real numbers then. Is that clear so far?
Yeah, clear.
Yeah.
I hope this helps. And don't make it too big because you only have a specific amount of time. Yeah, so the delivery date for the report is in the mid of June, and I will not deliver more information regarding the company because it's an imaginary company. So you have to do a deep dive into the theoretical parts of strategy, market development, and so on.
我明啊，佢呢個係一個意淫出嚟嘅公司，跟住冇咁多數據俾你，就俾一個大概嘅即係藍圖佢哋啊，大概方向就 OK 啦，唔使去糾結咁細嘅嘢喎。但係唔糾結咁細嘅嘢點樣分析咧？嗰啲工具全部都唔用得喎。 皮皮皮皮啊咩啊？邊個聽到？佢都聽唔明。阿陳 Sir 聾鬼咗嘅，佢都聽唔到。唔係啊，佢講完啦。唔係啊，佢講完啦，佢同我哋解釋啊。佢頭先聽到我哋。Okay, get it.
Okay, so what I would recommend to you is to write down what would be the next steps, which topics are still not clear for you, because you will do your project planning based on this. And as you already realized, you have some different kinds of perspectives and ideas on your project, and it's very important for your project work and also the consulting project. And it's very important to align all this information and that you have the same view on your and expectations on your project. This is very important. And yeah, as I said, I recommend that you write down this information. And I would also recommend to use Slack, therefore. I will go back to my to the main presentation. And just find an end of this project canvas, because we did a little sidestep. I thought it was important. Usually you would have this discussion, and afterwards you would do a conclusion. For me at the moment, it's more important that you do it in a different way, and so therefore I skip this step at the moment. So this is what I said what I would recommend that you do, to write down the next steps in a to-do list. And therefore you can use Slack or Trello. It's very important that this information are visible for everybody, and as well for me, because if I see some information missing, or if I realize a misunderstanding, then I can interact with you as well. So please don't use email communication for your project work.
No, we don't use email at all.
You can use WeChat or whatever for coordination, but when it comes to content-specific information, for me to give you guidance and support, it would be helpful to use the other tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this leads me to my next, to the next and final chapter of today, the project work organization. I don't know. We are talking now for more than 1 hour. How do you feel? Shall we follow up the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes, or do you need a break? Okay, so I think we can go ahead just for, I think we will need 10 minutes and then we're finished for today.
Okay.
Yeah, so the project structure, it's just a recommendation. So we will learn more about project structures, agile and classic structures later on in these classes, I think in some weeks. So I want to make it pretty easy for you. I think you are all on the same level as a project team, but of course you have to decide who will take over specific tasks in your project, and not only your consulting project, but your project work. And there are a lot of tasks, main tasks to do, like the project coordination, who's doing the planning, set up the meetings, who is taking care that or monitoring that everybody's doing the documentation which is relevant for you, someone who's doing the deadline tracking. That means if you agree that, I don't know, something will be done until Friday, who's going to be after it? Because in my experience, if there's no one doing the deadline tracking and timeline tracking, then yeah, you will miss some timelines. And this, in a very short project like this, you have like 6 or 7 weeks. It's all about time. There will be someone, there is the main task of the format of your project report and the presentation and the design. There have to be done the literature research and also the conception of your consulting project. And everybody has to do some individual content creation, as you know, and also there are parts for team content creation, like the reflection or also writing the abstract of your project report. And you have to decide who's going to do this. And I would recommend that someone of your group will be the project coordinator. That doesn't mean that the person is the head of. No, that person is trying to support the team by, for example, watching a bit more like the deadline and timeline and the planning, someone who's responsible to handle this. And maybe that person will do a bit less in literature research, something like this. This is what I recommend to you. And I recommend that you will define this project coordinator latestly until next week. And maybe you can do that right now. I don't know if you're already clear who wants to do the coordination or will be responsible for the coordination. What's important, you can always delegate a task, but you have to then have to make sure that the person you've delegated the task is doing it. So someone first for the project coordination, or do you need more time and want to decide that until next week? Okay, I think you will decide until next week. What about project coordination, a collaboration? What you have to clarify in your project team is what kind of meetings do you need? We will meet every Thursday, and we will have a time slot for your project work to discuss problems in your project work regarding the organization as well as the content. But maybe you need other meetings around it, or you do everything by Slack. You have to talk about that or decide how you want to do it. Then you have to decide how often you need these meetings. Will there be a fixed agenda? Like, will you go through every work package you have to do and ask for the status, for example? Then if someone will coordinate and moderate your project team meetings, and it's also important which way you identify how to communicate between these meetings. Yeah. And also a very important question is about your expected feedback times. If someone has a question, what is the feedback time you expect by your colleagues, and what is about weekends or something? Just talk about that. Just decide how you want to work with this. And maybe you also have some rules for documentation. Maybe if there's a question you are talking about, you decide to document it in Slack with the answer together to get back to that later. So. And there are many more questions, but I think these are the, from my experience, these are the most important regarding the communication framework. And of course, you can use different tools, as I already mentioned. If it's about the content of your project work and also about the requirements, then please use Slack and Trello so I can take a look at it and maybe give you some support or more information. Yeah, that's just an idea. Of course, you can use also additional other tools. Yeah. What I would like, what I ask you to do until next Thursday is to set up your project plan with the Trello platform. Here it's written, it's with Kanban. Kanban is the method and Trello is the tool. Trello is based on the Kanban method. And I don't know if you have worked before with it. It's from the lean manufacturing and brought to IT, I think in the 80s or 90s, 90s latestly, I think. And it's mostly used in agile project management or software development. And I really use this method. I really like that method because before I was using like these huge Excel project plan files, and it's not very collaborative, and not very flexible. And this is it's really easy to understand the method of a Kanban board. And if you use a software like Trello, you can you have access from anywhere just by a browser, and so that makes it pretty easy. But of course, as you see here, you can also use it in a physical way if you are working at the same place. Some teams do have Kanban boards, and they just use Post-its or other cards. They move from one part to the other. These are just ideas how you can set up a Kanban board. This is typically for the IT. You have a backlog, but you decide what would be the next to-dos. Then you have the to-dos. They are already in progress, so someone is working on them. Sometimes you have something that you have to set on hold. Then there can also be set up a column. And you have this column for done. And in this this example, there's also a questions column. So you can create your Trello board as you like. I just give you here very simple ideas. Like this one is super simple with to do, in progress, and done. Yeah, but if you want to work with me together, maybe you set up a question column as well. And if you remember, where is it? Here. I have already set up a joint board, and you would now be able also to set one person of you, maybe the one who's responsible for the coordination, would set up a new board. Just use this plus sign here, create a board, and then you able to set a new one. So, and then you would say next and to do. So as you see, it's pretty easy. In progress and so on. And if you want to add the single tasks, then you can just add them like this. And what's important for you is that you add the members. So you have to invite, if you set up a new board, you have to invite all the other students and as well me, so I can take a look on your board, and then you can add a member to a specific task. So, and yeah, that's it. I think it's very easy to use and self-explaining, and yeah, I'm very curious how your board will look like. So, any questions regarding Trello and Kanban at the moment? Okay, so that's it regarding the project structure. Thank you for the plus. Great. Let's take a look at the outlook. What's next regarding the project work? It's until May 7th. You have to do the project setup. That means until next Thursday. I want you to create a high-level timeline and that you know what things are to do until when, and you can also enter these timeline. For example, you can put a date behind the task, 7th May, or you can open it and set a due date here as well. So you can use different kinds of functions of Trello. This is what I ask you to do, to create a high-level timeline, to design a project plan in Trello, and also to define your roles, tasks, and responsibilities. That means in Trello, every task which is or should be every task which is in to do or in progress should be defined. Should be I'm looking for the word. Yeah, someone should be set as responsible for that role. So, and you should also plan your regular team meetings or communication process. This is what I expect until next May, next session, and I want you to show me your results then. And also, parallel, I recommend that you already start some kind of literature research regarding your consulting project. That means market entry and strategy projects should be helpful, and I will support you with literature as well. So I will send you some recommendations as well during the next days. You should also start to create templates for your project report, for the handout and the presentation, because also I made the experience that and you have to find a place where you work on these documents, or how you bring all these content together in one document. Because yeah, if you do not set up the format from the beginning on, it will hurt a lot if you try to bring together 5 different documents. And keep in mind the academic writing handbook. Yeah, and you should also start to develop a report structure. That means what will be the content of your project report, because in 2 weeks I expect you to present me the report structure and maybe first ideas regarding your consulting concept. What would be your next steps? So this is it for the moment. Clear so far what your to-dos are?
So far clear.
Okay. Yeah, next week we will also follow up with the marketing lessons or lecture content of course, and then we also will have time to do the repetition. I think Liang and Zoe are responsible for this repetition. I'm sorry, because we had to cancel the lesson this Tuesday. We had to focus on the kickoff today, but you will have your part next week. Okay, then we are done for today in time, and yeah, I will see you next week on Thursday at 12:30, 6:30, and we will then have 3 hours. I will send you the new schedule as well, and you will receive also your self-study challenge today or latestly tomorrow. And if you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate, just use the Slack channel. We have different channels, as you know, but just a repetition. Where is it here? We have the channel Project Work. If you have any questions, use this one, and you will receive your self-study challenge by this channel. Okay, then that's it. I wish you a great day and evening, and see you next week.